Well, a lot of people had Kentucky in their bracket. According to DraftKings, Kentucky was the most popular bet to win the national title. It didn't go as scripted as Oakland, Michigan ends up taking down Kentucky. Here is John Calipari talking about another tough tournament loss.
We made some critical mistakes at critical times again today. I mean, we had our chances. As good as they played and as many shots as they made, we still had our chances. When you have a really young team and you look at where did the mistakes come from, they were freshmen. They had performed on the road in hostile environments that I didn't expect some of the stuff today. But I come back to this one hurt because they are the kind of team you love coaching.
Okay. Well, the one and done feels like it's past its time. And Jay Wright, who coached at Villanova, won a couple of national titles, would normally not get that top 10 recruit, top 20 recruit, top 30 recruit. Now he's working for CBS, and he had this to say about the one and done.
The era of taking these young freshmen and trying to play against older players is over. I think he did a phenomenal job with these guys all year, getting them to be as successful as they were. You can see they're playing against grown men. The guys on Kentucky will be far better pros than any of these guys on Oakland or any of these guys in the tournament, but they're not as good college basketball players. At this point in their career, they're not as disciplined yet as the guys from Oakland. And it's not Cal's fault. It's they're 18 years old, and they're in this era where everyone's telling them how great they are. Just show up in college and you're going to win. It doesn't happen that way. And the more the guys stay in college because of NIL, it's going to be tougher for young teams like this to be successful.
The model is now UConn. UConn replaced their starting lineup, basically, and they did it with the transfer portal. They don't have big recruits coming in next year. This has been mentioned on this show a couple of times about Kentucky basketball with one and done. You're bringing in an 18 or 19-year-old, and he's one of the top players in the country. You're facing teams that have a lot of experience. And even 2 years or 3 years, that's a big difference sometimes. You may have more talent, and as Jay Wright accurately pointed out, in 3 years from now, if I took these two teams and they played, Kentucky probably wins by 30. Well, that's not the way it works in March Madness. The transfer portal is the way you build a team. I already know what you can do instead of what I hope you can do. When I take you out of high school, I hope you can develop into what I think you're going to be. You're going to be a 5-star recruit. Well, if I take this guy and he's already got 2 years under his belt at North Carolina and he's transferring to Arizona, okay, I already know what I'm going to get. Kentucky, they play on hope that you might have that potential to be great. Well, the game has sort of passed Cal by from that standpoint. He still is a great recruiter. And if you're going to fix this, and I think he even acknowledged this, that, you know what, maybe we look at this. He should, but he's known as a great recruiter. Well, if you're getting a guy in the transfer portal, that doesn't help the reputation. Hey, I'm a great recruiter. Okay. Be a great coach. And the bottom line is not, hey, these guys were here for 6 months, and look at all the money they're making in the NBA. Tell that to the Kentucky fan base today. You're paid to win there. They don't care about the draft. When those kids are gone, they're gone. New class coming in. And your job is to win. And every time Coach Cal comes on, he talks about the success of his players in the pros. Great. What was their success at Kentucky? You got one national title. And I think it exacerbates the fact that you've had all this talent and you didn't win. You won one national title. Jay Wright won a couple. He didn't have big-time recruits. Right? He had juniors and seniors. And if you have kids and you have an 18-year-old or you have a 22-year-old, the conversation you have, the maturity they show, that's just everyday life. Now apply that to basketball. And that's the difference. Oakland, they were well coached. I was shocked that Kentucky didn't understand the philosophy of Jack Golke. he was going to shoot threes. That's all he does. He took 7 two-point attempts this year. 355 attempts. He had, 7 or 8 of those were two-point attempts.
Your kind of guy.
Yes, and he had 0 assists last night, and I love that too.
Ow! Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. This is the stat of the day.
10 of 20 from three-point range. That was it. 0 assists, 0 free throws. And they were tough threes. But the difference was he performed, and he's, 24 years of age? He's had a lot of games under his belt. He's not afraid. And you're going against Reed Sheppard, who was the freshman of the year and will be a lottery pick probably. And he wasn't ready for the moment. Reed Sheppard didn't do anything in that game, offensively or defensively. Those were some tough threes, though, that he made. Second half, they kind of quieted him down. I think they did a 1-on-1 on him, some different defenses on him. But you'd already given Oakland confidence at halftime. And that's all you need. For a team like that, with a chip on its shoulder, hey, they don't think we can win this game. And that coach has been around a long time. Great story. And the fact that you were able to go toe-to-toe with all of that athleticism. I talked about Kentucky. They play as much defense as I do. And they're going to probably have 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks. But it didn't matter. These kids on Oakland don't care. This is their NBA right now. I mean, if you can win the Super Bowl in March Madness, they did that last night. And even after it, Golke, as he's done with the interview, says, we're not a Cinderella. That's pretty cool. Here he is after the win.
Obviously, we come in, we're the underdog by all measures, but you just got to, as a player, you can't think that way. You got to go out there and you got to think that you have the same talent level as them. I know they have draft picks, and I know I'm not going to the NBA, but I know on any given night I can compete with those type of guys, and our team can compete with those type of guys. And that's why I was so confident going into it, and that's why I say we're not a Cinderella, because when we play our A game, we can be the best team on the floor.
Okay. Steph Curry did this in 2008, where you're like, wait a minute, where'd this kid come from? You have these moments, every tournament has one of these players or 2 of these players where you go, oh my gosh, you seen this guy? And that's the fun part of this. Is it sustainable for Oakland? I mean, I'm not going to say no, it's not, because they beat Kentucky last night. But if anybody is going to be surprised the next time they see Oakland, man, that's on the coach. You know exactly what they're doing, and Kentucky couldn't stop them last night. Yeah, Marv.
I do love also that the NCAA tournament sometimes can make NBA prospects out of these mid-major guys. Like C.J. McCollum, I had never heard of C.J. McCollum until they beat Duke. And it's like, oh, he's a first-round draft pick now. So the NCAA tournament can also make NBA players come out of nowhere.